change. But first, 1 year ago today, a massive earthquake shook Nepal, killing more than 8,000 people. Some $4 billion of assistance was pledged, but the rebuilding has been hampered by rugged conditions, poverty, and politics. Special correspondent Fred Sam Lazaro explores the reconstruction efforts as part of our partnership with the Pulitzer Center on Crisis Reporting and with the Undertold Stories Project at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota.
Kathmandu still bears scars from the quakes, but many people in Nepal's bustling capital have pushed the rubble aside and started rebuilding their homes and lives. That's not possible in the quake's worst-hit regions, villages high up in the rugged Himalayan landscape that were hard to reach even before the disaster struck. Most people from here were displaced into makeshift camps in valleys miles away.
On April 25, 2015, the village of Milong literally slid out of existence. 38 people died instantly as boulders rained down from the mountainside. 5 bodies have never been recovered from under them.
Parma Singh Tamang ran a grocery store and tailoring business in this abandoned town once home to 400 people. The remnants from his shops peek out from under tons of granite. 2 daughters-in-law and 2 grandchildren perished here. Others in the large extended family that lived here barely escaped.
When they heard the loud rumbling, they were very confused and ran down by the river.
Down the street is the spot where Salnam Tamang lived. She wasn't home on that fateful day. She was visiting her mother, leaving her 4 children with her in-laws and eldest child, Ashmita.
Her grandfather was cooking fish, and all the family was gathered in the main floor area. But Ashmita did not like fish, so she climbed to the 2nd floor of the house. Then suddenly, the earthquake came, and the whole house fell, and she was thrown some distance away. But the whole family, they were crushed.
Including 2 younger daughters and infant son. She did manage to rescue their pictures.
I'm really sorry.
Their current situation stokes the despair. Most people in the camp say they have no money and have received little assistance to rebuild. Selnam Tamang scrapes by on about $3 a day she earns as a laborer, working about 10 days each month. And conditions in the metal roof shacks are not healthy, says 12-year-old Ashmita, who's learning English.
When sun is rising, then very hot.
It gets very hot when the sun rises. Are there many people who are sick in this camp?
Yes.
What kind of sickness do they have?
To diarrhea, and winter seasons, people's are pneumonia.
For Nepal's inadequate healthcare system, the quake has added demands. Shanti Upreti, a public health nurse, says many of the displaced have migrated closer to population centers, like the one she serves, in pursuit of work.
They can't farm their land and have no sources of food, and conditions in the temporary shelters are hazardous. Pregnant women are especially vulnerable now.
We followed along as she coached Anu Biswakarma, a new mother, on breastfeeding. Her 19-day-old son was not thriving. Days earlier, she'd urged that the child be taken to the regional hospital, but this family could not afford the bus fare. Upreti has seen many preventable illnesses end in tragedy and recalled another recent pregnant patient.
I knew that the mother was anemic and told them to take her to the hospital to deliver, but they couldn't afford it, so they both died. That case happened 3 months back. I've experienced a few cases like this since the earthquake.
The health system she works for can't do much to help, having only begun to rebuild facilities. Some social enterprises did try to help. One Heart Worldwide has worked for years in Nepal on maternal and child health.
We had met a company in Utah that made these tents that are 12 by 12. And they're big enough to set up as literally a birthing room. And so we distributed those and set them up immediately after the earthquake. So in less than a year, we have delivered over 1,000 with no maternal or newborn deaths in any of those situations in our tents.
But One Heart's founder, Arlene Seaman, says much of the international relief efforts were were uncoordinated and have met only a tiny fraction of the need.
There's millions of dollars that were raised that still have not been deployed and could be and should be given to people so they could rebuild.
She says many non-government aid groups were reluctant to deploy in Nepal, blaming the political dysfunction in a country that's endured years of instability. For 5 months last winter, an internal dispute over a new constitution and regional politics led to an unofficial blockade of the main trade routes into landlocked Nepal from India, for which the two neighbors blame each other. Even today, people spend hours in line for cooking fuel and gasoline.
So the country is essentially paralyzed by political gridlock.
Yes, it has been.
As a result, economist Sujib Sakya says some $4 billion in earthquake aid pledged by several nations have remained largely unspent as rival factions fight over who should control how it is dispensed.
For folks in the politics, is it like $4 billion coming in? So how much can we make out of this? This is how they think. And they need the right...
How much can they line their pockets, you mean?
But yeah, line their pockets. And that's the whole question.
However, the newly formed National Reconstruction Authority says it now has support from all political factions and will soon shift into high gear. Families will be entitled to grants of about $2,000 to rebuild homes. Communities will receive aid for schools and health facilities.
Within this 4 years, we will make a new Nepal. This Nepal will not be made by government, but by the people. The process of making the new Nepal will be created by the government for the people.
Spokesman Ram Prasad Tapalia said the slow start has two main causes: the daunting task of surveying extensive damage over forbidding terrain and setting up a transparent accountability system.
To spend this amount of money that is coming in, the authority has to spend that money with partners. The donors and the people are going to be watching to see if there's any corruption.
And there's growing public access to information to hold the government accountable. Civic groups using technology and media have set up websites to track aid dollars. There's even a TV show called Integrity Idol to single out honest government officials, a group widely viewed as corrupt.
And at the beginning everyone said you won't find anyone in Nepal. And actually we had hundreds of nominations, and the 5 finalists were incredible people at the local level.
Blair Glencourse and Narayan Adhikari are with a Washington-based non-profit company, Accountability Labs, which produces the show.
Seeing all sort of energy coming from young people, and especially technology front as well, gives me a hope.
But back at the displaced people's camp, Parma Singh Tamang and his wife Jomo say they're not holding their breath for the promised government assistance.
I have no hope that we'll ever get back the life we used to have.
A few doors down, Selnam Tamang is spending a lot of her meager income on school fees, investing her hopes in Asmita's aspiration.
Doctor.
You want to be a doctor?
It will be an uncertain, at times even desperate journey for many years for her and so many Nepalis. For the PBS NewsHour, this is Fred de Sam Lazaro in Nuwakot, Nepal.
Explore more of Nepal a year after the earthquake on our website. We have a 360-degree video of several locations from our reporting trip, revealing material that shows you a complete perspective. Find it on our website at pbs.org/newshour.